Blast me to Kjalma's skull! It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey, Issue 72, Part 2, Battle Report. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. So we're finishing off issue 72 today, and it's finally down to being able to use the Lychguard, as this issue came with the final frame, so can't wait to see how they do in battle. But before we get into everything, don't forget, of course, to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to drop a comment down below, as I love hearing back from you. It helps the channel out, and it's just a good way to keep the community flowing. So here we go then with issue 72. So all we've got left in here is the Warlord traits for our battle sisters, the data sheet for our Lychguard, and of course our battle. Then I'll go through the two lists I'm going to be using for this big game, and then we will obviously get into the game itself. Let's go vertical then and have a look through issue 72. Here we have issue 72, and like I said, all you got left inside are the rules. So we've got Warlord traits for our Sisters of Battle units. So if you have your Warlord from your Battle Sisters attachment, you can choose one of these 4 Warlord traits to be your Warlord's trait. Personally, I think I'd either use Indomitable Belief, which helps buff your Shield of Faith for infantry core units within 6 inches of your Warlord. So as I keep my Canoness near the Battle Sisters anyway, that'd be pretty good, giving them a 5+ instead of a 6+. Then Beacon of Faith is the other one that I would probably use, as it gives a bonus miracle dice to just the Canoness each turn, and only the Canoness can use it, but you can use it for a Act of Faith or a miraculous ability, and you could also use it even if another unit has done an Act of Faith this turn, or this phase even. So yeah, pretty good. A couple of Warlord traits there. The only other one I might use is Righteous Rage if I feel like getting my Canoness stuck into combat. This allows her to reroll hit and wound rolls, which is going to be beneficial for Battle Sisters, as hitting roll not too much. She hits on a 2 anyway, and using the Rod of Office on herself means she rerolls the 1s. But that all important to reroll to wound, as most things she'll be wounding on 5s anyway, due to her being only strength 3. Although she'll be strength 4 with the power sword, so that makes it a little easier to wound. But still, the re-rolls will be beneficial. Inspiring Orator is an okay one. So it allows you to intone each time you intone a hymn, which I'm guessing we'll be getting in a different sheet. Or uses your ability in your command phase, you can add 3 to the range, but it does not affect your miracle abilities. And finally, you also gain a Warlord an aura trait, which allows you to affect a core unit within 6 inches. They can ignore combat attrition penalties for being under half strength. Yeah, not the best ones, but like I said, Beacon of Faith and Indomitable Aura Belief are probably the better of the two. 4 even, I can't read. So on the other side we got a tutorial on how to use Beacon of Faith and Inspiring Orator. And yeah, Inspiring Orator will be pretty useful if you ever do find yourself below half strength. But let's face it, you're not going to see that very often. That's weird. You ain't got the superior there. Very odd. Moving on then, we have the rules for our Lychguard unit. So the unit is 5 to 10 models, which is good because I have 15. So I'm going to be doing a unit of 5 and with just the scythes, and a unit of 10 with the sword and shield there. So I keep saying so again. The unit is pretty good. Movement 5, weapon skill 3. I'd have preferred them if they were weapon skill 2, because they're supposed to be the elite bodyguard. And you've got the Victor's Guard who have weapon skill 2, but ballistic skill 3. They have ballistic skill 3. They are pretty good with strength and tough 5 and 2 wounds, which is the all-important bit. They have 3 attacks, leadership 10, and a 3+ save. But that will go up to a 2+ with a 4+ invulnerable if you take the shield and sword option. So, standard war gear is the war scythe, +2 strength, so swinging at strength 7, -4 AP and 2 damage. So yeah, these guys are your heavy hitters and elite infantry killers. If you want to be a bit more defensive, go for the hyperphase sword. It's only +1 strength, -3, 1 damage, so a power sword pretty much. But you then take the dispersion shield in addition to the sword, giving you that 4+ save and +1 to your normal armor saving throws. So yeah, gives you a 2+ pretty much. So, abilities, they have Living Metal, Reanimation Protocols and Command Protocols. And Guardian Protocols is exclusive aura to them. So while a Noble is in 3 inches of this unit, they cannot be targeted by ranged weapons. And as we see over the other side, this means that if they're within 3 inches, units can't pick out characters, even if they have a rule that says ignores Lookout Sir, because the Guardian Protocols ability doesn't state about Lookout Sir, it states about can't be targeted, meaning even if they ignore Lookout Sir, they still can't target because they have the bodyguard protection trait there. Then we also see here hyperphase swords versus the war size. Yeah, I think sword and shield perfect for a defensive bodyguard, and the war scythe isn't too bad if you want to have something that hacks and slashes at the enemy. Right, finally then, before we start looking at the armies I'm using, we got our mission, so locating the gate. This is a pretty big mission, so we're using all 4 battle mats, and we have L-shaped deployment zones in each of the corners, and we have to split our force as equally as possible. It says we can't use strategic reserves, but it doesn't say anything about setting up stuff in Sky Strike or transdimensional location. So I'm thinking that means we can still use those rules if we wish. So yeah, progressing primary objectives, we got taken hold as usual, and have seen issue 77, and we are changing from taken hold to a different one, so it's going to be pretty cool in future issues. Secondary objective though, we have the players select their secondary. The Imperium player must select your spec scan, which gives us the ability to do the action as long as we are within range of an action marker, and the only action marker is the center of the battlefield there. And then we have 4 other objectives. So yeah, pretty cool. Basically, the mission is we're trying to find the Dolmen Gate deep inside the tomb. But like I said, the games are going to get a lot more interesting, and we'll be focusing more and more on high power games, which is a little annoying because I would like to use smaller size games more often where I can focus on a smaller force. But I might even just go back and replay some of the older missions using different armies to what I used back then. Right then, that's it for this issue, and we've already seen what's in the next issue, but let's have a reminder. So the next 2 issues, we have our Locust Heavy Destroyer, and we have our 5-strike servo turret. We continue the Rogue Trader Journal with a nice fold-out page. We got an updated paint guide, so we're learning some extra highlighting techniques for all our models, plus we are learning how to paint eyes and mouths for our bear head models, if you have any. A lot of people do prefer just to have helmets, but I've got a few of the bear heads, so I might give that a try. Especially for the Battle Sister stuff that I'm painting up as the magazine's details. And then we have our Fire Strike Server Turret. We've got a nice Chaos Space Marine story. It's Khorne more than generic Chaos Space Marines, as the magazine cover indicates. We got build and paint guides for your servo turret, and you've got the data sheet as well, and you've also got the data sheet there for the Locust Destroyer. Right, as my Necron army is next door, let's have a look at that first. Here we have the 75 power Necron army I'm going to be taking. So the first thing you might notice is, yes, I have 2 units of Scorpion Destroyers. So I dug out the spare set that I accidentally, the person I won some Mortal Realms issues off of accidentally sent me the wrong order. So I had a second set of Scorpion Destroyers. So they're ready to use on the battlefield in this mission. I have decided that I will double up, but only double up on stuff that we have in the collection. I won't use stuff that's from outside of the collection. So that means I won't be able to use stuff like my Ophidian Destroyers, my Doomstalkers, and all my other Necron units that aren't in the Imperium collection itself. Right, let's start at the top of the list. So we got my Overlord, who is my Warlord with the Enduring Will Warlord trait. We've got a Royal Warden, so he's going to be backing up some of the Warriors and Immortals. We've got a Scorpec Lord, who's leading his Destroyer Brethren. And then we've got 2 Technomancers. We've got the Chronomancer and the Plasmancer. So that's our 4 HQs, because each one of these counts as half, pretty much. You get 2 for 1. Moving on to our troop units, so it's the same again as I've always been doing. 2 squads of Warriors and 1 squad of Immortals. I may, in a future game, split the Immortals into 2 5s, or I may even bump the Necron Warriors up to units of 20 just to have a huge amount of Warriors on the board. So, Elites, we have our Lychguard here, ready to protect their Overlord. 2 squads of Scorpec Destroyers. Reanimator. Then we have the Canoptic Plasmacyte, just a single one on its own. 5 Flayed ones, and 2 Crypto Thralls to bodyguard the Plasmancer, as he's the weaker of the 2 Mancers, because this guy's got a nice invulnerable save. I'm going to dig out and build up my second one of these soon. I want to try out the Entropic Lance, and I also kind of want to run 2 of these at once. But Mr. Plasmancer is pretty cool. Regardless, he does deal out a nice lot of mortal wounds. This has been piled into a single 50 plus power detachment, so there isn't going to be the need to lose out on command points or argue over who's in what detachment. Splitting wise, I'm going to put the Scorpex all in 1 deployment zone, alongside 1 squad of the Warriors and the Plasmancer and Crypto Thralls. Actually, no, I might do a Chronomancer, because it'd be quite nice to put 5+ invuln save on one of these squads. Then the other deployment zone will be the Overlord, Lychguard, Mortals, Warrior, and the Reanimator, plus the Royal Warden. And I might put the Flayed ones straight down. I might see about putting them in trans-dimensional location, seeing as that is not strategic reserves. So then they can come down, hopefully near an objective to deny the Imperium chance to complete the action. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to using this army. It's a pretty potent army. Nice lot of units, some fun units, and some very deadly units, of course, as well. Right then, that's it for the Necrons. Let's take a look at my 75 power Imperium detachment. Okay then, here is my 50 plus power, 75 power army for my Imperial force, and it's split pretty much half and half. So we've got my Kjalma leading the force as my Warlord. We've got a Canoness, Primaris Lieutenant, and Primaris Captain rounding out my HQs. For troops, we have 10 Assault Intercessors, the 10 Battle Sisters, and 5 Assault Intercessors. Fast attacks, we've got the Outriders and the Seraphim there. Elites, we've got Aggressors, the Lychguard, Repentia, Arcoflagellants, and Repentia Mistress. And finally, for the heavies, we have the Penitent Engine there. So yeah, pretty much. I did say that I would have promoted her to Warlord, but I think the extra command points are going to be beneficial by having Kjalma in charge. So next time I have a big battle, I might not take Kjalma. I might take the Canoness and have hers on Warlord. Now we've got the Warlord traits. Yeah. Like I said, I'll probably split all Battle Sisters on one deployment zone and as much of the Space Marines on the other deployment zone. Maybe put the Aggressors and the 5 Assault Intercessors, if need be, onto a different deployment zone. And as Sky Strike isn't strategic reserves, I'll probably put the Seraphim up in Sky Strike, ready to drop in. So there we have it. Right, I am off to set up the battlefield and I will be right back. Here we are all set up and ready for 72's mission. So as you can see, we've got the corner L-shaped deployment zones. So starting with the Imperium over in the top left, or my top left, we have 5 Assault Intercessors, Canoness, 10 Battle Sisters, Repentia Mistress and her Repentia, Arcoflagellants, and then the Penitent Engine. Then down this side, we've got the Captain for just off the far side there, 3 Aggressors, the 3 Outriders behind them, Kjalma, Lychguard Lieutenant, and then the Assault Intercessor 10-man squad down here. For the Necrons, we've got the 2 squads of Warriors with Chronomancer, 2 squads of Scorpex with Scorpec Lord and Plasmacite. Then down on the opposite side, we've got 10 Immortals with the Royal Warden and Reanimator backing them up. Then we've got the Lychguard, Plasmancer, Overlord, and the Crypto Thralls to back up the Plasmancer. So, Imperium have decided to take first turn. So, before we do, let's have ourselves some dramatic reading. Locating the gate. The battle for Ramesses can only be won if the flow of Necron reinforcements into the system is halted. Adeptus Mechanicus xenologists have analysed the energy signatures emanating from the Necron Tomb Complex and matched them to known phenomena in other areas of the Pariah Nexus. They believe that somewhere beneath the planet's mountains, a functioning dolmen gate is being used to summon Necrons into the fight. The gate must be located and put out of commission. Secure the conduits. The Necrons know well the importance of the Dolmen Gate and have dispatched forces to protect their main source of reinforcements. Phalanxes have been posted at every power nexus, conduit, bank, and access corridor, and are well prepared for the oncoming attack. The Necron Overlord remains confident of victory. Find the Dolmen Gate. Several Imperial scout units and advanced assault parties have delved deep into the Necron's lair, sowing destruction and confusion. Their new orders are to seize, scan, and map all power conduits and generators, building a picture of the Necron Tomb and ultimately the location of the Dolmen Gate. So, with the scene set, it's time for us to begin our battle. So, secondary objectives, the Imperium has to take the Auspex scan objective, which allows us to gain extra points by scanning the action objective at the centre of the map. The Necrons have gone for attrition as they are wanting to hopefully eliminate as many of the Imperium vermin as possible. Without further ado then, let us begin Imperium turn 1. So rite of battle for the entire game is Divine Guidance, so extra AP on 6s for shooting. And the Necron's first command protocol is Protocol of Eternal Guardian, and we will go with the light cover one, playing things a little defensively. In the command phase, the Imperium go up to 15 command points. We have 2 extra thanks to Kjalma. Kjalma's ability will go on the Assault Intercessors, I think, or will it go on... Yeah, no, we'll put it on the Assault Intercessors, even though he is going to be in range of his aura anyway. The Victrix Guard aren't going to be in combat at the moment. And the Canoness will put the Rod of Office on herself, and the Mistress will urge her Repentia onwards, hoping that they can get into combat early on. But they have a defensive perimeter of the Arco Flatulence and Penitent Engine first. So here we go then with Imperium turn 1. End of Imperium movement phase, and we have moved out mainly towards objectives, with the close combat detachment over there focusing mainly on the enemy. The only units that advanced were the aggressors and captain down here, hoping to get towards that cover quickly. Even with a 5, they only made it to the wall. The Archiflagellants and Penitent Engine didn't advance, but the Repentia and the Mistress did. Mistress only got a 1, but the Repentia themselves got a 5, so they overtook the Archiflagellants there. So moving on then to Imperium shooting phase. End of the shooting phase. Haven't killed anything, but we have wounded 1 Scorpet Destroyer from the Bikers, and we've wounded a single Crypto Fool combined shots from Kjalma, the Lieutenant, and the Assault Intercessors. Not the best shooting phase, I must admit, but it's toughness 5, and they have been getting that light cover thanks to not moving. The only charge to do is the Repentia, so we've got 3d6, discarding the lowest, and they need at least an 11. I think 3 6s will do it, so yeah, they are in. That'll be it for charges. And end of Imperium turn 1. I did charge the Pentium engine in as well. He was within 12. And they've eliminated over half that unit of Necron warriors. So at the end of the Necron turn, there's a chance they could phase out if they fail their morale test. But it's now time for Necron turn 1, and the Wrath of the Overlord is going to be abundant. So here we go with Necron turn 1. First thing we do, gain a command point. They're going to My Will Be Done on the Lychguard. Chronometron will go on the Reaper Warriors for the moment. And that is it for command abilities, I believe, on all my characters. So Yeah, he's just aura. Here we go, Necron, turn 1. One last thing I forgot for the power phase was reanimation beam on the Immortals from the Canoptic Reanimator. And one thing I forgot from the Imperium's turn, I lost 2 Repentia on Overwatch from the Warriors. Movement phase for the Necrons then, the Warriors that were in combat fell back, allowing the Reaper Warriors to move up a little bit and get the maximum shots in. Chronomancer put the Chronometron, as I mentioned, on the Reaper Warriors. All the Scorpex moved up. There's going to be a couple of charges, hopefully. The Immortals have lined up their guns on the Imperium, and the Lychguard have their eyes set on the Assault Intercessors down here. So, it's time to move to the Necron's shooting phase. Okay, end of Necron's shooting phase, and the first thing you can notice is the Pentient engine has gone. It did not survive 20 Gauze Reaper shots, so he made the foolish thing of charging in, but he was a heretic anyway, so he deserved to die. We lost 2 Assault Intercessors from Harbinger of Destruction there, and as we're going into the fight phase, we're about to receive Living Lightning as well. We also lost 2 Assault Intercessors from the Overlord, Royal Warden and his Immortals. But other than that, not a lot has happened. So we're going into the charge phase. We have the Scorpex coming in. Lord will go for the aggressors, while the other Scorpex will go for the captain there. And then we'll get the Lychguard, hopefully, into the fight against the Assault Intercessors. End of Necron turn 1, and the Lychguard failed to make their charge. They got a 7 first off, but needed an extra 1 to make it. With the reroll, they only got a 4, so it didn't go too well, sadly, for them. The Scorpex, though, they did a lot better. The Destroyers absolutely butchered the captain. I should have dropped a few command points to hopefully make him a bit more durable, but I got a little caught up in murder. So yeah, I must be affected by the Destroyer cult. But the Scorpex Lord also charged in and chopped up 2 of the 3 aggressors. Because of where the Sergeant was located in the unit, he is now out of range and is free to move off in his turn anyway. There's no one compiling enough to get him in engagement range. But that's it. It's time for us to begin turn 2. So it's the Imperium's turn 2. Protocol Eternal Guardian is passed, and now we are moving into Protocol of the Vengeful Stars. So this is extra AP on range attacks on 6s. So yeah, we'll go for that one, I believe. Imperium gains a command point, and Calgar's ability will go on the Victrix Guard, while his Aura ability will go on everybody else. Canoness's Rod Office will go on herself, and I'm out of range for the Repentia Mistress to urge on her charges. So it's straight into movement phase. End of Imperium movement phase. The Aggressor Sergeant has moved into the ruins onto Objective 2. The Battle Sisters and Assault Intercessors are moving down to Objective 4, I believe. Yes, one guy is just in, but sadly we can't score any points at the moment because it's only in the command phase we score our points. Outriders have jiggled themselves around, so they're ready to charge. The Scorpex and the Assault Intercessors and everything moved up along here. So here we go with the Imperium's shooting phase. End of Imperium shooting phase 2, and we see the destruction of our first Scorpex destroyer, which actually fell to the Flamestorm gauntlets. I would have thought it would have been the bolt guns from the Outriders, but no, it wasn't. Other shooting happened was the Battle Sisters and the Assault Intercessors, fired into the Immortals, but only managed to kill a single one. And then everything down here absolutely fluffed their shots. I didn't do as well as I had previously with these guys. Neither did the Outriders. Lots of 2s that I weren't able to re-roll, so it's up to them to do the damage in the charge phase. So here we go then with the Ultramarines charge phase. End of Imperium turn 2, and it's been an exhilarating ride. I found myself quite exhausted. The Outriders managed to eliminate another Scorpic Destroyer, but he did one back in return. The Repentia only managed to kill a single warrior. And the Archoflagellants finished off the other squad of warriors and piled into the Chronomancer, stopping him from being able to do too much next turn. As you can see down here, it is a single Assault Intercessor left and 3 Lychguard left, one of which is wounded. And the Plasmancer and his Cryptofools have died horribly. The Cryptofools died to Kjalma, and the Plasmancer died to the Victrix Guard, who got a speedy 12 for their charge range after a command reroll. So Kjalma is definitely helping the Ultramarines live longer with Kjalma. But here we go then, on to Necron turn 2. So for command abilities, it'll be Reanimation Beam onto the Immortals. I will be done onto the Lychguard, who are still technically locked in combat there. Then Chronometron will go onto the Reaper Warriors. And that is it. Here we go then with Necron's turn 2. End of the Necron movement phase. So the Scorpex and the Plasma Sight have moved up to help contest Objective 2. They will charge in and probably butcher the poor remaining aggressor there. Scorpec Lord has moved down to charge into the Outriders. Immortals moved up to get their guns in range. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to go on to the shooting phase next, which it's going to just be the Immortals, as everything else is either in combat or has no shooting weapons. So here we go, Necron shooting phase. End of Necron's shooting phase, and it is only turn 2, but I do see this coming down to who still has models left on the board. The Imperium is taking heavy casualties, but so are the Necrons. I mean, that is the dead pile. Quite a lot. Which means there isn't too much left on the board. I think the Immortals are going to be the winning factor over here. And I think the Scorpex are going to push their weight over here. But Kjalma is definitely going to be showing them how to do it. Speaking of doing things, let's do the fight phase. End of turn 2, and the Necrons are dominating. The Archoflagellants with Extremist Trigger Word killed the Technomancer, but he revived, so you've got to do it all over again. I luckily passed all their explode results, so they didn't die. So I can easily do it again next turn. The Scorpic Destroyers, yeah, butchered that poor last aggressor, and the Outriders didn't do much better over there. Kjalma is holding his own against the Overlord just, but the Lychguard are now about to join the fight as well, but the Victrix can also intervene. I'm really in the mind that I don't think the Imperium could win if they attempted. The Necrons are 8 points ahead thanks to attrition. And we can't start scoring points for at least another turn because none of our units are in range of objectives. The Scorpex are sitting on 1 objective, so they will score that in the Necron's command phase, putting them up to 13. And even if the Imperium can get into a position where they can get an objective for the next turn, they still have to deal with the Immortals, Reanimator, and Royal Warden over there. And they've still got a fully healthy unit of Scorpex over there, plus a Scorpex Lord. So I know it's only turn 2, but I'm calling the game there. It is going to be a Necron victory. So what have I learnt from this? Lychguard are cool. I've definitely learnt that. They've proven their worth even at a unit of 5. They wiped out a 8-man unit of Assault Intercessors, pretty much, and only lost 3 in return. I've also learnt that taking multiple Scorpex destroyers is incredibly overpowering. I might just use the collection and not double up on anything, but oh, it's so nice just fielding a mass destroyer force. So we are getting the Locust Destroyer soon, so I'm adding some. I can add 2 Locust Destroyers because I already own 1 to my army to add even more destruction abilities. But that will be the end of that. So yeah, Necron have won yet again, and it's time to say thank you all for watching. If you think I deserve it, please give this video a like. If you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all my mad content. And I will see you next time on the Imperium Journey. Thank you and goodbye.